What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, CEO, MTS Nutrition. Now, a question I have been getting every day on my Instagram story. My Instagram is at Marc Lobliner, MarcLobliner. I answer my story. On my story, I answer a Q&A daily. A question I've been getting every day is, will machine fuel break my fast? Will Clash break my fast? Will Barracuda break my fast? Will X break my fast? Will Natural Light break my fast? And the bottom line is, I want to kind of address this in a way that doesn't offend people, but also gets across my opinion on intermittent fasting and where its benefits are. Now, as we saw in the lean gain study that I did a video on, we saw that essentially it offers no benefit over traditional eating patterns, meaning that the lean gains group, which is 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of feeding, and versus, let's say, a standard 3 times a day, 6 times a day, even 8 times a day eating group, the differences were minimal, if not non-existent. And the differences there were was a slight decrease in testosterone and thyroid hormones, which I can argue makes lean gains or intermittent fasting inferior. But I'm not going to make that argument because I do not think it is inferior. I think it is actually just as good. I just don't think it's better. Where I see intermittent fasting having a benefit is that what it does is it makes it so you have less time to eat. And in that time, you have less time to mess up. So if you only have an 8-hour eating window, there's a lot less damage you could do through snacking than you can in a 16-hour eating window. And also realize a lot of people get in calories they don't even know they're getting in. So if you're fasting, you're not going to do that. For example, years ago, I'm talking over 20 years ago, or almost 20 years ago, when I worked at Weeder Publications, Denise, the office assistant who sat next to me, always kept a candy dish on her desk. It was full of Hershey's and Crackle and all those whatchamacallits, little bite-sized candy. Every time someone come to their desk, like Bill Geiger, the editor for Muscle and Fitness, all these guys, have a candy, have a candy, have a candy. And I was like, you'd go down and visit her because she was literally the publisher's assistant. So everybody had to talk to her. So the bottom line is, by the end of the day, Bill and Vince and all these guys coming down to visit her would get probably an extra 200 to 300 calories in just nibbling chocolate bars alone. That's a lot of calories. So it does avoid unnecessary snacking. And also a lot of people like to feel full after eating. So I'd hate to use the word starving, by fasting, which is the proper term, by fasting, basically skipping breakfast, having, let's say, a noon to 8 p.m. eating period where you fast from 8 p.m. to noon, and then you eat from noon to 8 p.m. So basically you go to sleep, you eat your last meal at 8 p.m., you go to sleep, wake up, skip breakfast, go to lunch with the boys at work. That's about it. So what that does, it gives people less opportunity to cheat on their diet. However, the problem is, Americans as a whole skip breakfast. Americans have been known to skip breakfast. So we have an obesity epidemic in America. Skipping breakfast is not the answer to our obesity epidemic, but it is a great way to control calories if it works better for you. For me, at my body mass and the fact that I like breakfast, I like toast, it doesn't work. Now let me get into the fasting and will X break your fast? Will Ritual break your fast? Will machine fuel? Will this? Will that? Will whatever? Will a Diet Coke? The bottom line is, why are you fasting? I personally do not believe that any fast less than 24 hours will give you the autophagy benefits that I get when I do my 24-hour fast. I do like 24-hour fasts. I do them myself. I haven't done them lately due to soccer and training for myself. And I train kids. I could not coach my athletes if I was fasted. Couldn't do it. I just couldn't. It's just not good. And even Dr. Fung, who is a foremost expert on fasting, says, hey, look, it's not a good idea to fast if you're going to run a marathon. You got to do it at the right time. Use common sense. For me, coaching is so mentally and physically draining that I can't functionally do that and do it to my best. And when I'm coaching my kids, they need the best. They need the best Marc Lobliner that can possibly be there that day. Every day I'm there. There's no off days in coaching. And also in my training, I take my training seriously. This morning I had boxing. I take that seriously. Although I do kind of intermittent fast. Like me, myself, I do kind of intermittent fast because I train in the morning on a fasted stomach. So I usually don't eat till around 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. My last meal is usually at around 9 p.m. So, I do kind of have 18 to 6 kind of fast, but in my opinion, that's just called sleeping. I'm sorry, 8, somewhere in there. I'm sorry, 14 to 8, whatever. So bottom line is, what if you do break that fast? Let's assume that, let's say I train in the morning on a fasted stomach, right? Let's say I do take Clash. And even though there's no calories in it, let's say it breaks my fast. What negative effect will come from breaking that fast? I don't believe you're going enough time for any autophagy benefits. I don't believe you're serving any weight loss purposes, and studies have demonstrated that it has no weight loss effect over normal diet timing, over normal meal patterns. What is the deleterious effect of having that? I can point to the positives. If you take something like Clash, you got creatine, you know all the benefits of that, beta-alanine, betaine, you have caffeine, which is a proven ergogenic performance enhancer. So all these benefits, but what are the negatives? You break your fast, assuming it does, which I'm not sure it does because there's 0 calories. There shouldn't be much, if any, of an insulin spike. So you broke your fast, then what? Your body's still gonna be in fat burning mode. You're gonna train harder because you took a pre-workout with ergogenic aids. So you're gonna burn more calories during training, hence leading to a larger caloric deficit, leading to more fat loss. You're gonna have all the benefits of all those ergogenic aids, of all those mental stimulants, muscle stimulants, of all those things, your citrulline malate, filling your muscles. What is the downside to breaking that fast? No one's been able to answer that because, frankly, the data behind 16 to 8 is not favorable to 16 to 8 fasting or lean gains. The data in the lean gain study was actually, in my opinion, it was extremely contradictory to the claims. Because thyroid went down and testosterone went down and everything else pretty much remained unchanged. And the only difference in weight loss was explained by what I just said. There's about a 250 calorie deficit in the lean gains group, which is caused by the fact they only had 8 hours to mess up on their diet. So I would like to end this by saying, it doesn't matter if it breaks your fast. If it has no calories, if it has no carbohydrate, in my opinion, you're not breaking your fast. And even if one of these fasting gurus comes to you and says it actually does break your fast, what are the negatives? You're not doing really jack shit for autophagy. You're not doing anything extra for fat loss above just caloric restriction. Obviously, there's an insulin factor, but I look at that as more of a health factor. I love fasting. I do. I just don't believe the 16 to 8 is something to worry about, because I don't think it has any benefits other than caloric restriction. However, I do like the fact that people are thinking about this because people are becoming more cognizant of their health. But let's look at the big picture. People are worried about minutia, like, will Barracuda break my fast? And I get this question at least once a day on my Instagram story. Again, feel free to go to my Instagram and follow me so you can see these. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The bottom line is people cannot adhere to a diet. Okay, that's the issue. What I want you to do is find a diet that you can adhere to long-term, that you can adhere to, that you can stick to for a long period of time, that you can mindlessly follow and not have to worry about the minutia of, will this break my fast? Because all that's gonna do, it's gonna make you worry. It's gonna increase your cortisol. It's gonna make you have doubts. It's gonna make you frustrated. And what happens if mom cooks breakfast one morning? Like, are you gonna turn down her English muffin and eggs? Like, you gotta think about something that fits your lifestyle. And if fasting is causing you to seek out help from someone like me who is, not the biggest advocate or expert on fasting, means that it's too much and it's overwhelming. And it's becoming more of a job than it is a diet. And that's when you need to step back and say, look, maybe this isn't for me. Anyway, guys, do you agree with me? What are your thoughts? Anyway, click on the link in the description box below. We have a great article on intermittent fasting. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Marc Lobliner. That's not a game.